Ever heard of a pig being put on trial? No? Well, buckle up because we're going on a swine-filled ride to the 14th century. Now you're probably thinking, wait, what? A pig on trial? Yes, folks, this isn't a porcine parody, but a genuine historical event that took place in the Middle Ages in France. A time when knights were gallant, the plague was rampant, and apparently pigs could be defendants in court. Animal trials were not unheard of during this time. You see, in the Middle Ages there was a belief that animals, much like humans, had a moral compass and should be held accountable for their actions. And so we find ourselves in the peculiar situation of a pig being hauled before a judge. The pig in question, let's call her Miss Piggy, was not just any pig. She was a French pig. And not just any French pig, but a pig accused of a crime so heinous that it led to her being put on trial. Now, this wasn't a kangaroo court, mind you. This was a proper, bona fide court of law, with a judge, a jury, and yes, a defense lawyer for the pig. Imagine the scene: a bustling courtroom, the murmurs of the crowd, the stern gaze of the judge, and right there in the dock, instead of a hardened criminal, there's Miss Piggy, probably more interested in a bucket of slop than the legal proceedings. And it wasn't just one pig. Oh no. Over the course of several decades there were numerous instances of pigs and other animals being put on trial for various crimes. Everything from murder to property damage was laid at the trotters of these unsuspecting swine. You may be chuckling or shaking your head in disbelief, but this is a testament to the fascinating and often bizarre twists and turns of history. So strap in and hold on tight because this story is about to get even weirder. So, let's imagine it's 1494 and you're in a French courtroom and the accused is a pig? Picture this, a pig accused of a heinous crime. Sounds like a fairy tale gone wrong, doesn't it? But this is no fantasy. No, my friends. This is the real story of a pig that found itself on the wrong side of the law. The crime? The murder of a child. In the small French town where this drama unfolded, shockwaves were sent through the community. The townsfolk were aghast, unable to fathom how their peaceful existence could be shattered in such a manner. And the culprit, a pig, was as unlikely as they come. The seriousness of the crime was not lost on anyone. A life had been taken, a family irreparably shattered. The authorities sprang into action, determined to bring the perpetrator to justice. Yes, even if that perpetrator happened to be a pig. Public opinion was divided. Some were of the view that the pig was a mere animal acting on instinct, while others argued that the crime was so severe that it demanded punishment. Meanwhile, there were those who found the situation utterly absurd, unable to reconcile the image of a pig standing trial in a court of law. But, as laughable as the situation might seem, the case was taken with utmost seriousness. The pig, like any defendant, was to be tried in a court of law under the watchful eyes of a judge and jury. The principle of innocent until proven guilty was to be upheld, regardless of the defendant's species. The pig's trial was not a farcical event put together for the amusement of the townsfolk. Rather, it was a demonstration of the lengths to which the law would go to ensure justice, even in the most unusual of circumstances. Now, if you're wondering whether the pig had a fair trial, you're in for a surprise. This wasn't a kangaroo court, folks. This was a pig court. Yes, you heard right. A trial where the accused was not a man, nor a woman, but a pig. Now, the pig didn't saunter into the courtroom on its own, of course. It was represented by a lawyer, a real bona fide lawyer, who had the challenging task of defending a pig. Quite a departure from his usual clientele, I'm sure. But the legal practitioner took his duties seriously. He argued with the eloquence of a seasoned barrister, presenting his case with the fervor you'd expect in a murder trial, not a pig trial. The evidence was laid out meticulously. The prosecution presented the damaged crops, the trampled fields, and the testimonies of disgruntled farmers who had lost their livelihood to the porcine perpetrator. Their argument was simple: the pig was a menace, a notorious felon who had wreaked havoc on the French countryside. But the defense was not to be outdone. They argued that the pig was a product of its environment. It was only doing what pigs do, following its instincts. They pleaded for understanding, for mercy, for a recognition of the pig's inherent pigness. They even brought in character witnesses, other pigs who testified to the good nature of the accused, a hilarious spectacle if ever there was one. Arguments flew back and forth, the tension palpable. The courtroom was abuzz with whispers and snorts as spectators watched the drama unfold. The judge listened with a stern expression, his gavel at the ready. The jury, a mix of farmers and townsfolk, weighed the evidence before them. The fate of the pig hung in the balance. The closing statements were nothing short of theatrical. The prosecution painted a picture of a lawless society where pigs roamed free, causing chaos and destruction. The defense, in contrast, pleaded for compassion, for understanding, for a world where pigs could be pigs without fear of retribution. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the verdict. Did our porcine protagonist walk free, or was it a case of ham meets hammer? After a trial that had the whole of France on pins and needles, the verdict was finally in. The pig was found guilty and met a rather unfortunate fate at the gallows. The public's reaction was mixed, with some expressing relief at the verdict, while others questioned the morality of sentencing an animal to death. The aftermath of the trial was significant. It stirred a debate on the justice system's treatment of animals, leading to changes in the way animal trials were conducted. The trial of this pig wasn't just a spectacle, it was a turning point. It marked a shift in societal attitudes towards animals, from viewing them as mere property to recognizing them as beings capable of moral action. And that, my friends, is how a pig became a historical figure. Next time you're having a bad day, just remember, at least you're not on trial for murder. Unless you are, in which case, we hope you have a better lawyer than this pig did.